Hello, hello. Going live for the first time in forever. Couple years now. Got new internet, so testing that out. But here to answer your start sit questions for week 7. We got a lot going on right now. Darrell Henderson, Royce Freeman up there for the Rams at the running back position, looking like they're going to be getting the touches here, looking like they're going to be getting the opportunity. That's interesting to see. We're waiting for the news for some of these guys on their health status, whether or not they're going to be able to play. Honestly, haven't been live for a long time. Haven't had the internet to be able to do that. So honestly, this is a first go for me of many. And if the internet's not rolling too well, I'm going to reconfigure the network and be able to roll that way. But really, we're testing it out, seeing what happens. Drop your start sit questions in the comments, in the chat. We'll answer them. I imagine this one's going to be a little bit quiet considering it's the first time going live. But if you're having trouble setting some lineups, or if you just want me to look over something, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll answer it. I'll look at it. But really just getting ready for this week's slate of games, looking to see what's going on, seeing what news comes in from Shefty. So let's go over that real quick. Let's pull up some Adam Schefter, see what's up with him. Honestly, you got anything to ask, drop in the comments below. That's where we'll answer those questions. I got rankings pulled up from other places as well, just so I go over my gut feelings as well on those. That way I'm not shooting from the hip too much, because that's what I like to do. I like to collaborate on the rankings, make sure I'm not shooting from the hip, messing myself up. So let me know what you got. Here to help you guys out through week 7 with those lineup settings. But with some news coming out, let's go look at Zach Evans. This is what we're reading off of here on Twitter from Adam Schefter. Rams rookie Zach Evans, one of the most added players in fantasy football this past week, is expected to back up both Royce Freeman and Darrell Henderson today against the Steelers, while Myles Gaskin is expected to be inactive. Let's see. We got a question here. Rashee Rice, Najee Harris, Jonnu Smith, 1 point PPR flex spot. Okay, so let me look real quick here. Help you out. Take a look. Are you wanting to start 1 or are you starting 2? That would be my main question here, and that's in the flex spot. And I take it it's not tight end premium. So you're starting 1, and my guess here is we're going with Rice. So I'm going to double check. Rice 33. Is that Najee? And just running backs here, not overall. Yep. There we go. Good overall here. Double checking with you. Najee, 81. Rice. So we got a coin flip between Rice and Harris. And that's where I'm sitting at. A coin flip between Rice and Harris. And I'm really going to go with. Let me double check here with Najee. I'm going to go with Rashee Rice. I think I'd do Rashee Rice objectively here. I like the matchup. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in this matchup. It's really a coin flip between the two for me. But for me, if I was looking at the lineup setting and how I would do it just by gut, just by feel, I would do Rice. If you have a different feel, I'd do with that. Just objectively looking at the matchups, that's what I would think. Should you start Royce Freeman? Really depends on how many options you got. I'm not really into the Rams backfield this week. I want somebody stashed just in case. Just in case. Preferably, my stashes probably would be Darrell Henderson, maybe Gaskin. But Gaskin sitting now is going to be inactive. You can probably get that stash later down the road, next week or the week after, since he's sitting now. It'd be a cheaper get unless you got a deeper bench spot there. But Freeman, you're hoping for a touchdown. You're hoping for him to cross that goal line. Flex 1, Elijah Mitchell, Jahan Dotson. Ooh. The thing about Dotson, he's getting about 5 targets a game. We know that. We've been talking about that a lot in the videos. And they're short targets. We kind of got a matchup this week against the Giants. It's a little bit iffy because we know it's going to be ugly. We know it's going to be up and down, and it's not hitting. So we need him to get one of those goal line looks, get in the end zone there. And then Elijah Mitchell. The thing about him is there's been talks that Christian McCaffrey might come back. I don't really believe it. But Elijah Mitchell has upside, and I see them being ranked very similarly in the rankings still. 90. And Dotson. Here's how I'd play that. If you want a guaranteed some targets, some opportunity, and you don't want to think about touches, targets, opportunity, and then start your matchup and not get anything, then you would go Dotson. If you want to shoot for pure upside, Christian McCaffrey being out with that gamble since it's on the later part of the slate for this week, then you would do Elijah Mitchell. That's probably how I'd do it. I'd look at my lineup, see if I can garner upside. If I want to garner for some upside, and because he's a home run hitter, and I see people got Elijah Mitchell deeper on the rankings than Jahan Dotson. And my thought process on that is they're being safe with Dotson because he is a little bit safer because you know what you're going to get. You do not know what you're getting with Elijah Mitchell. There's upside to him, though, because you got that deep speed. And the thing about that, he's sharing the backfield nonetheless, whether CMC is going to play or not. So you are taking risk there. So there's high reward, high risk with Elijah Mitchell. Jahan Dotson, there's a little bit of upside if you can score. But the thing about him is we've seen the downside way too much, but you know what you're going to get. That's what I'm thinking. So if I have my lineup configured and I can take a dart throw in my lineup, then I'll go Mitchell. If I just want to make sure I get 8 fantasy points, if I just want to make sure I get that, then I would go Jahan Dotson because he also has that touchdown upside. That is what I thought too. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Darrell Henderson or Jaleel McLaughlin. That one's tight because there's this thing about the Rams running back field here because we do not know how the touches are going to be distributed. We could tell from Sean McVay's voice when we went over the video of his press conference that he was very excited to get Henderson back, that he wanted something where he felt good with. Looking at Jaleel McLaughlin, I want to look at where they're ranked here real quick. I think McLaughlin 74, Henderson's 140. Okay, McLaughlin's got a decent matchup. You know what you're going to get. He is also sharing the backfield with Javonte Williams. We know Henderson's going to be sharing the backfield, but to what extent, we don't know. We don't know what they're going to be doing with that. We've seen C.J. Anderson come in to a Sean McVay offense and just take over the touches right off the street. That could be happening with Henderson. And again, this is another situation where I see other people's rankings and they're playing it safe with that. And that's really getting in the heads of things. I think they're more of a coin flip here than what people realize. Another thing is when I look at Henderson is this Pittsburgh matchup, and I'm throwing the ball in that game. I'm throwing a ton to Puka. I'm throwing a ton to Cooper Kupp because you can throw on the Steelers a bit. So I would see the Rams throwing a lot in this game and not messing around with the running backs too much. I could definitely see that. I think it's a coin flip between the two. If I had to pick, it's tight. Coin flip it, go with your gut. I feel safer with McLaughlin, and I feel like Henderson could get more carries than expected. I feel safer with McLaughlin. Del J just went through and added Royce Freeman in a bunch of my leagues. Yeah, you should be doing that because sitting out there on waivers, he's free. You never know what you're going to get here. The Rams backfield's a box of chocolates right now. You don't know how the touches are going to go. I expect him to get some goal line work. And if he does, and he pops a little bit off of that, and you know how people chase fantasy points in your leagues, you might be able to sell them, work your way up to somebody else that you wanted on somebody else's team and make that trade. Or you got a guy who you think is going to get goal line looks and you can play the matchup, especially with these bye weeks getting hot. Let's see here. Couple options for flex today on free agency, half PPR. So we're picking these guys up. We got Freeman, Pirine, Gainwell. Reed, Bourne, Dubs, Wilson from the Dolphins. Wilson from the Dolphins for pure upside, season long, just because he's on the Dolphins. I hope that's the same player. Michael Wilson. Okay, different Wilson. Okay. So let's see here. Let me read these names through. I would not look at P. Ryan. I'm going to exit him out first. I think Dubs over Reed. I think Dubs you're playing the matchups with. And I saw a lot of people dropping him in a lot of ESPN leagues. He was up there, one of the tops on the list. I think he's a guy that you play the matchups with for the rest of the season. You can say the same with Bourne. But I feel a little bit better with the Packers offense. Also, when I look at P. Ryan, I'm done with them. Gainwell, he's kind of strapped to DeAndre Swift. If something happens to Swift, everybody's going to be running for Gainwell. Royce Freeman, he's the hot name right now. He is the hot name right now. You may want to just have him just in case he scores a touchdown, and maybe you can do a quick flip. Maybe. So if I had to pick one, and it's just for today and not long-term, it's Freeman. If I'm looking for long-term, if I'm hurting at wide receiver, it's Dubs. But it might be Freeman still, just because of that short-term stats. If he scores, and people are going to be flocking to that Rams backfield, and I want to capitalize off that. That's if you can flip people. And then also think about Gainwell and DeAndre Swift. If you can't flip much in your league, you can't make trades. Gainwell, if something happens to Swift. So I'm very convoluted here. So Freeman, just go with that and play that on the short term. Be willing to turn and burn. Next is Curtis Samuel or Rashee Rice. I want to go back and look at that. Curtis Samuel, 96, 95, Rice. I trust Rice's situation more this week against the Chargers. I think I start anybody in that matchup. I think I'm just going to do that, and I'm just going to go with that process. I like Samuel. I think they're seeing about the same amount of targets per game, about 5 or so. And with that matchup, with it potentially being a higher scoring game, more output, I think I would definitely lean Rice and just go with that process. And I'm leaning into the matchups. Royce Freeman, A.J. Dillon, or Gus Edwards dealing with injuries to Montgomery, Mixon on bye, and didn't have great depth. So for me, there's Royce. Hold up. Let's look at that one again. So we got Edwards. I don't trust Edwards too much. So you're hoping for a touchdown, really, from these guys. You're saying who would cross the goal line. Because Freeman, goal line back. Gus Edwards, we know he's not going to get you 100 yards rushing too often. That's just really not in the cards. Thinking this through, A.J. Dillon can probably get you that. Let's start looking at these guys real quick. Here for you. Dillon, 30. And then what we got? Freeman. My gut's saying Dillon, though, coming off of this. Edwards, 32. Let's see. A.J. Dillon, because you got the Broncos. Everyone's running on the Broncos. And out of all those guys, I'm hoping for a touchdown. So I want to be in a matchup where I can move the ball very efficiently. And I think that Packers-Broncos is probably going to be best equipped for that when I think about that. That's what I would go with there. Next one, Devonta Williams, flex. Foreman or Williams. So let me look here. Foreman. Say Devonta Williams. Denver, Green Bay. We also got the Raiders game. It's a coin flip between the two, honestly. What I would do between Foreman and Williams is I don't trust the Bears. I want to play it safer with Javonte because he is in a good matchup there. I don't trust the Bears. Foreman, because I know he's getting touches. He had 16 touches last week. We're in a decent matchup here. I would say he's getting touches in this week. Javonte, I think, is a coin flip, though. I think it's a big-time coin flip between those two. When you're looking at both of them are not in optimal situations. Both teams are not projected to move the football that much. Foreman's definitely getting touches. Devonta Williams might be in a position where they're throwing it more, and he might be splitting the backfield more. Is Keaton Mitchell playing today? We don't know yet. He is a long-term stash lottery ticket. I hope he plays a little bit. I think since we're going against a tougher run defense, I hope it's a little bit limited and he doesn't get the full go. So since it's a tougher opportunity, I hope it's when he gets his run, it's against a team where it's just simpler. Would you drop Njoku to start Keaton Mitchell? I would not trust starting Keaton Mitchell unless I'm in a super deep league. And I'm sorry I went out of line there. I just saw that. 1 of 5 need a magical QB performance. Sam Howell or Pickett. Okay, let's help you out there. That's a tough one. So quarterbacks, onesie position. So I could be. That one's when you look at that. Let's see here. Pickett. Where are we at? Kenny Pickett. You got the Rams. That could buoy some production there. And then you also got Howe. Sam Howe. They got Pickett and Howe. I would go Kenny Pickett and hope for the shootout. I think both of them are jabroni quarterbacks who are up and down. And I'm not looking at the quarterback per se. I'm hoping for the shootout. And I know the Rams can throw on the Steelers, and I think that's a good matchup for them to do so. And I'm not looking at the quarterback in this one. I'm looking at the situation. I just throw them in as jabroni quarterbacks, and they'll probably not score too much away from each other. But if I'm going to bet, I'm going to bet on the situation there. And I'll probably bet on the Rams being able to move the ball through the air pretty good, and the Steelers just having to play catch up with that, having to keep up with that pace. So now I'm trying to keep up with the pace of this chat here. Let's see here. 1 and 5 here. Who do you think will have more pass game, Royce Freeman or Darrell Henderson? Freeman was a decent pass catcher coming out of college when he was coming out of Oregon. If I remember his prospect profile when I did that back in the day, I believe they're going to use Darrell Henderson a little bit more between the 20s and a little bit more Freeman short yards goal line. That just makes sense. And I believe they know what they're getting out of Henderson. And I believe Henderson showed some good things in practice this week. So I think he's going to be getting some opportunity. Obviously, I don't know, but I would guess Henderson. And it's just a little bit, though. Next is Ingram or Justice Hill. I know Keaton is supposed to get involved today. Man, I don't like that one because it's not a fun one. Because both those guys are not really top producers here, and they're sharing the backfield. And Gus Edwards is getting involved. The quarterback is going to be in there with Lamar Jackson. That's sticky. Looking at Ingram here. Let's look this up. Ingram, 34. Hill, 31. You got Detroit, though. Hill's got some pop in his step. You're hoping for goal line work. Keontae Ingram, you're not 100% trusting the situation right now. That's against Seattle. You can throw on Seattle. That means you can move the ball. Keontae Ingram. I would just gamble on Keontae Ingram. So looking at this one, trade C.J. Stroud for Mixon. Non-PPR 12-team, have JT, Javonte Williams. Okay, so 1 QB for sure. 2 QB. What's your other quarterbacks? Sam Howell as backup. Well, it can't be 2 QB unless you're really struggling. So if it's 1 QB, sure, definitely, because you can make that up off the waiver wire streaming. If it's 2 QB, it's push. It's pretty much a push. My gut leans Stroud a little bit, especially how you're off at quarterback. 1 QB, definitely, because you can definitely stream the rest of your quarterbacks. You probably even have just as good output if you stream good and look at the matchups and look at the over-unders. Next, Justice. Okay, that's an answer. Hill is going to be okay. Just worried about Keaton. Yeah, I'm kind of worried about the Keaton Gus Hill trio. That's kind of why I like Keaton a little bit as a lottery ticket. If you can't handle the lottery ticket, then don't get him. Then do not get him. He is not a need for you, but he is a need if you need a lottery ticket. If you have the space on the back end of your roster and you're looking for a lottery ticket, a guy with 4.3 speed, upside, considering this backfield is nobody stepping up. Nobody's stepping up. The team likes him. Climbed the 53-man roster from a UDFA. There's a lot of things to like here. And the thing about lottery tickets, when they run bad, you just go back to the waiver wire, get yourself another lottery ticket. But if you can't do the lottery ticket, don't do it. Don't do it. But some people do the lottery ticket. That's just part of the strategy here, especially on the back of your roster. And then a lot of people don't know how to use their IR as a strategy. It's daunting. I'm getting lost in the comments here. Who would you start, Gus or Henderson? Gus Edwards or Henderson? I mean, honestly, there's a lot of unknown with that one. I would guess. Honestly, if you want to play it safe, you go with Gus Edwards. Henderson might surprise us this week, so if you want to go with that gamble. So it really depends on how you want to play it. Both jabronis. Gus Edwards, if you want to play it safe, you know you're going to get some carries and you might get that goal line look, which might buoy you a little bit. Henderson, we might get more than what we're realizing, though, considering he's an incumbent, considering what they did previously with CJ Anderson when Todd Gurley went out and they just gave him all the touches. That might be the situation we're into. But we really got to see here. We don't know. We don't have all the information. Gus Edwards, if you want to play safe, if you want to shoot for the moon and see what happens, make that gamble, and you have a spot on your lineup to do so with, you're not making gambles everywhere else, then you're good to go. I think I missed some questions here. I'm sorry if I did. Is Keaton Mitchell playing today? Maybe. He might be seeing some snaps. I imagine it's going to be a ramp-up period. I imagine we'll see a little bit more each week. Remember when J.K. Dobbins, every time he comes back from these injuries, it's a slow ramp-up period. And these guys are very cautious with their players. They're very conservative. So I imagine there's going to be a ramp-up period considering what we've seen historically. Who do you think will have more passing? I already read that one. All right. Lions D or Baltimore defense rest of season? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't really look at defenses too much. If I were to go here, I would go Baltimore. Because that's Dallas Lions. Okay, there's 3 teams here. So I'd go Baltimore over Lions. Baltimore. One, Lions offense could push some shootouts. Dallas offense could push some shootouts. Dallas tends to get in some shootouts. Dallas has some up and down games where they're very good and then they can be on the upswing and they're very volatile. The Ravens get in these ugly matchups that are a lot slower and create turnovers. If I had to pick one and be married to it, it'd be the Baltimore defense. What I would do personally is stream a lot more on the defensive side. Which Rams running back to pick up? Depends on which one's available. My gut's saying Henderson. I feel like he's the safest. Freeman to pick up if you want to gamble on scoring a touchdown if he's available. Gaskin for upside. Zach Evans is there. I've talked about Zach Evans a lot over the last few years on this channel, and because I've covered him from high school, the college, to now, so I know a lot about Zach Evans. Zach Evans is an immense talent. He's a very talented player, tons of upside, and the thing about him is he's not consistent. He's kind of got that knucklehead factor, even though he didn't do anything really knuckleheaded things out there. He didn't get arrested or anything like that, but he's done some weird stuff through the recruiting process, going from high school to college. He catfished like 20 collegiate programs. I might be exaggerating. It might be 15, but it's an ungodly number. And it was weird. He also had this weird thing in the high school championship game where he showed up late because he took his ACC or ACT testing or whatever for college so he can leave early enough for college and missed part of that championship game. And then he got hurt his second year at TCU and missed the rest of the season, but he was averaging over 100 yards a game during that. And he said a bunch of weird stuff in the media about transferring to that Florida school where Deion Sanders was at. And then he goes to Ole Miss. Very weird situation there because Judkins was good, but he couldn't take over. It's just all this weird stuff. Then we get to the combine. You watch him on tape. Go watch those highlights. Go watch some games. We don't really have much time to do that, but you'll see upside. You'll see the speed. You'll see the burst. You'll see all that. And you just want to strangle him because he showed up at the combine this year, did not give you those numbers. He just didn't do it. And you just see him just falling. I wouldn't be surprised if he's out of the league soon because he's just a guy no one can depend on. Also, here's another negative thing on him. When you look at PFF and his pass block snaps, he only has like 30, 40 on his career in 3 seasons. And at TCU, they did not ask him to pass block at all. They could have had him run routes, which they probably should have with his burst and explosiveness that didn't test at the combine. It didn't show because he probably didn't try to get ready for that. But if you don't have the experience pass blocking over the last 3 years, how are you going to be able to transition quick to the NFL? And then if you can't do that and you're not reliable, how are you going to play that dude? So, yeah, I just went on a tangent there on Zach Evans, but there's all you need to know, really. Gus, or I did that one. He's not starting Evans. What's your question, Ryan? Matt Smith. Matt Stafford or Deshaun Watson, and should I start McCaffrey? Okay, first off, Christian McCaffrey, if I'm in the position where I'm in a bind where I'm hoping that he plays, I would do 2 things. I would put him in flex, and I would have a backup on my bench who's in that game that I can flip in and out. In that Vikings game, maybe Osborne or something like that, and hope for the best. Because if he does play, you don't know how many touches he's going to get. You don't know if he's on a shortened workload. But if he doesn't play, you're going to be screwed if he's in there and you do not have an insurance policy. Do you plan? Like, we don't know the health status. We don't know what's going on. So the thing about that, you're just going to have to just throw it into the wind one way or the other because he might play and you benched him. Or he might play and he might not play and you got him started. Matthew Stafford or Deshaun Watson? Stafford, because we got that Steelers game. You got those running backs coming in, those jabroni running backs, and you're probably going to lean into the pass game in that one because you should, because that's a good matchup for them to throw the ball. They should be throwing the ball in that one. Who to start? Jonnu Smith, Zach Ertz, Logan Thomas. So when it comes to tight ends, I am very biased on the tight end position. That is the thing about me on tight ends. If you really watch all those videos and see how I talk about tight ends, I'm very biased, very negative on the tight end position. And the thing about them, I'd go on matchup. Jonnu Smith's been all right, but we got Tampa Bay. And you also got Kyle Pitts, not the greatest matchup. We got Thomas here. We got the Giants, a little better matchup, but I think it could be ugly one way or the other, which could be beneficial or bad. Then we got Ertz. He's down there. Oh. You can throw in Seattle, but he's also sharing it with Trey McBride, and Trey McBride's seeing an increase in usage, which is not very safe. Logan Thomas, but honestly, when it comes to tight ends, you're hoping for that touchdown. You're hoping for that big-time gamble, especially when you're not talking about guys like Kelsey, Andrews, Laporta, Hawkinson, those top guys. Pretty much you're playing the matchup. You're hoping for the best. I think I'd go Thomas. Next, Rams running back. So we're getting a lot on Henderson. We're getting a lot on Freeman. Henderson, long-term. Gaskin, lottery ticket. Freeman hoping for touchdown. And then Zach Evans, a lottery ticket that you're more than likely going to be throwing away. Also, if flex pick one, Terry McLaurin, Jerome Ford, or Devonta Smith. Let me look at Jerome Ford real quick. My gut went to Ford for some reason, but my head's saying Devonta Smith, and now I'm fighting myself. And the reason why is because I know Devonta Smith's in a fire matchup. He didn't hit last week. We got Indy. That's going to be off and on. We got Deshaun Watson back. So Ford's going to be safer. Devonta Smith's going to have more upside. So if I want to feel good, have a safe play in there, I'm going forward. Devonta Smith, if I want to play that Dolphins matchup and shoot for the upside. He was one of the top wide receivers last week in air yards. I think 154 at 11 targets. So it's not like he's not getting used. This is going to be a good game script to push for that. Ford's guaranteed touches. You know it's going that way. Smith has ran bad a few times this year. He's been up and down. He's an up and down producer this year. But we've seen this Dolphins team push the pace and push some of these players. If you want to shoot for upside, if you're playing against a good team, if you got a spot in your lineup to kind of gamble with, I don't think it's too much a gamble. I think both of them are good plays. I think both of them are very good plays. That being said, if it were me, I'd go Devonta Smith and shoot for the upside. If you notice, by the way I talk, I'm more of a gambler on these types of situations. That's why I kind of talk in the middle a lot, because I know a lot of you guys aren't. But if I want to play it safe, I know Jerome Ford's getting touches, could get some goal line looks. Devonta Smith, upside, just straight up upside. And I'm a gambler, so I'd gamble. But if you don't, do you? So Najee, Hendo, Dylan. So a question for me on this one's Dylan versus Najee, because Hendo I don't trust all the way yet. Let's see here. Hendo, Henderson, 141. And then Dylan. I think it's a little bit better. So Najee's higher on 444's rankings, but I have a better feeling for A.J. Dillon. It's against the Denver Broncos. You can run on them. And Najee's sharing too much work for me to trust him, and it's against the Rams, which they have him second toughest team against the run right now on their site. I'll have to look at my other numbers because I think that says different for me. I like A.J. Dillon, and both of them are sus running backs anyway, so expect sus results. Next, Ingram or Justice Hill. I think I answered this one. I'm going Ingram. Because of the matchup. I think you can throw on Seattle, and that's going to push the pace in this game. That should allow him to see more opportunities. Justice Hill's more of a gamble considering he's sharing the backfield. Imagine it's going to be more of a gamble because we might see a couple Keaton Mitchell carries and Lamar Jackson running it. Hill's got some pop in his step. You're hoping for the touchdown there. Ingram, same thing, but I feel like considering he's probably getting more of a touch share, especially early in the game, I'd be rolling Ingram. Which ones did I answer that one? Which running backs to pick up? I am. So which Rams running backs? Let's rank them. Henderson. Right now, Freeman, Gaskin. Well, it's kind of different buckets here. Henderson has more of the for sure thing. And you got Royce there as kind of like the goal line guy. And then Gaskin for upside, which is a lottery ticket. And then Zach Evans is another lottery ticket that I'm expecting to throw away. But I'm not really expecting him to hit either, but I'm scared that he does. Because I've seen what he did on the college field and I saw what he did in high school. But the thing is, I don't trust it. So honestly, Henderson's the main guy I'm picking up. Royce for goal line work. Gaskin for a lottery ticket. Evans is another lottery ticket that I don't trust. But if you asked me that 2 years ago, I would have thought I was crazy. That those words would be coming out of my mouth. I would be thinking I'm crazy. Elijah Mitchell or Mason. Good question. Good question. That's a very good one because Elijah Mitchell was coming back from that knee injury. Only got a little bit of work when he was coming back. We don't know how much he's getting back now. CMC out. You got a good 1-2 punch here. Mason, if you're hoping for touchdowns, because obviously I would give that to him for the goal line work. I would obviously be doing that. Elijah Mitchell's got some gusto here because he's got that speed. He's a home run hitter, and he can take some carries, blow by the defense. And I imagine since he's come back from a knee injury and they're already on the mend at running back, and if CMC is out, they're sharing that backfield. Is it going to be 60-40, and how's that going to be split? Mason, if you believe he's getting the goal line work, which he will, imagine you will be giving that to him, and you hope he falls in the end zone. Elijah Mitchell's a home run hitter. So now we're gambling on the touches and how they go. We got to dial that in. So thinking about that, Mason's the safest play. He is the safest play because you're chasing the touchdown. You're chasing that touchdown. You're against the Vikings. Favorable matchup for that. Elijah Mitchell, home run hitter. More upside in this matchup. And this is a matchup that could do that. If I'm up in this game and I'm killing the Vikings, I'm pounding Mason if I'm the coaching staff. I'm thinking in their shoes. I'm pounding Mason if I'm up big because I got a running back coming back from a knee injury, and I got another running back on the mend right now that I want back soon to give him all the workload. I'm going to be pounding my healthy running back, my younger running back. Mason to play it safe. Elijah Mitchell if you want to hit a home run. Freeman is probably safer. Thanks. Would you start Darrell Henderson over Rachaad White today? No, I think I'd go Rachaad White. I feel safer. Honestly, I don't know what's going on with the Rams backfield. I would just hold Henderson. I imagine this backfield is going to surprise us one way or another. I imagine it could even be a Mari Mercado situation. I see this team throwing it in this matchup. That being said, they're throwing it in this matchup. They're moving the football. You could be seeing Freeman getting those goal line looks. And between the 20s, Henderson might be getting some work. He might out-snap him. He might do that. That's the thing. I'm looking at snap counts. I'm looking at targets. I'm expecting the Rams to throw the football today. I'm going with White. Craig Reynolds or Gus Edwards or Latavius Murray. Let me look up Latavius Murray because that's an interesting one. Latavius Murray, 105. Edwards, 109. Who's that? Rachaad White, Craig Reynolds. Yeah, so it's a toss-up for me between Gus Edwards and Latavius Murray. The thing about Latavius Murray is we're going to be in a situation where you're going to bet on touchdowns here. Same thing with Gus Edwards. And we know Cooks gets a lot of the touches. You know they like to push it down deep, and it's just falling over the goal line. And Edwards, Gus here. Edwards got a bad matchup here against Detroit. But it doesn't matter if one scores the touchdown, one doesn't, even though the matchup's not there. So we're banking on touchdowns. Gus Edwards probably going to get more touches than Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray, though, is going to get more goal line looks, and I really want to shoot for upside there. Your gut's going to tell you what to do, so go off that first. Talking that through, Latavius Murray, because I feel like the Buffalo Bills will have more goal line situations. Harris is out. I just see him getting more of that goal line work, getting more opportunity than usual. And it's been a bit since he scored a touchdown, so let's roll with that. Let's see here. Where are we at here? You're welcome, Jonathan. White. I think my thing's resetting, and I might have answered some of these. YOLO. Henderson, always go YOLO. Gabe Davis over Pittman or Downs. So I look at this Gabe Davis or Pittman. I want to go with the Pittman target share and hope for the best. That's for sure. Pittman's at 77, Davis at 88. There's really the thing about this. 77, Pittman. It's because Pittman's not in an optimal situation here. It could be ugly. Gabe's not really in an optimal situation either, and you're shooting for the YOLO. Fundamentals say go Pittman due to the target share. Your gut may say Gabe Davis due to the air yards and the potential upside due to them being ugly matchups. That's the thing about that. That being said, if you want to follow fundamentals and play it safe, go Pittman. If you want to gamble, go Davis. And due to the matchups, that's what we're looking at here. If it were me and I was looking at those and I'm setting my lineups, I know exactly how I punch those buttons. It'd probably be Pittman, unless I'm in a game where I want to shoot for pure upside and I'm in the spot where everything in my lineups matching fundamentals. But fundamentals says Pittman. If you need to gamble on the air yards, they're not far off this week in projections. When I'm looking at the sites here, both bad matchups. Fundamentals say Pittman, but if you need to gamble, take Davis. Let's see here. No PPR. Love or Watson? Love or Watson? I don't really trust Watson that much, and I think I missed the question, so I'm going to move back up and look at that. So let's see here. Love or Watson? What time are we looking at? We're 11:47. Love or Watson here. Let's see. Watson. Deshaun Watson's got a juicy one against Colts here. We got Love against Denver. Jordan Love's way safer against Denver. Jordan Love's very safe against Denver right now. Deshaun Watson's in an all right matchup. I think if one does better than the other, it's not going to be too much off from each other. I feel safer with Love due to he's not dealing with that shoulder issue. Let me get back here and work the. Let me see here. There we are. Back here. Let's see this chat. Jason or Pitts. I lean Pitts due to target share. Let's see here. Here, would you drop Njoku to start Keaton Mitchell, 16 team? I have no running back to play. I'm playing against the number one team in the league. I'm down 20 points. No start. Would I do it? Really depends on what's there. Looking the context of that, you need to swing for the fence. You're going to be swinging for a home run here, and with your eyes closed. But if you hit, you're going to hit big. I think you're really at this point, you're down. You're against the number one team. And I don't know what's the other spot here. I think the odds are likely Keaton Mitchell doesn't get enough workload to hit his home run for you. If you're in a 16-teamer, and I know how those work, and it really depends on waivers and knowing that there's not many home run hitters on there, would I do it context-wise with limited information here? You probably don't have any other options on the waiver wire. Asking this question means you probably don't have many other options to hit upside if you're chasing pure upside on your lineup. With that being said, if that's the true case, then yes. If that's not the case and you got someone else who has upside, because you're playing against a team that it sounds like is going to score a lot of points today. You're probably hit with bye weeks and injuries. Sometimes you got to take that gamble. Really depends on the rest of the context, though. If you got somebody else, then like a Gabe Davis or somebody, an upside wide receiver who gets air yards, that might be safer. An upside wide receiver who's getting 95 air yards a game, who can't trust, that's sitting there on waivers, maybe you could roll that. But if you don't have that, it's a 16-teamer, then that might be something you have to do, and good luck on that because the odds are, you're talking about maybe 1% to 2% odds. Looking at this one, Rice or Godwin? Rashee Rice or Godwin? Because Rashee Rice is in that home run situation this week. Let's see here. Let me move this around. '24 against Atlanta. I'm not really concerned too much about that situation. And then Rice. It's tough. It's tough. Fundamental says go with the target share with Godwin. Other side of the fundamental says that the Chargers game is going to be nuclear. Rice is leading the wide receivers and targets per game, but it's a little bit more risky to that, even though the matchup's more grandiose. If you follow fundamentals and you want to play it safe, you start Chris Godwin. If you want to play upside, which both have upside because Godwin's really good. If you want to play upside due to the matchup, you're seeing the matchup, you go with Rice. If you want to play it safe, you're in a position to play it safe, and you just want to get your baseline production, Godwin. If you want to shoot for upside due to this matchup, because Rice could score in this game, they could be throwing the ball a little bit more in this game. I look for him to get about 5 targets, maybe 6 or 7 on the high, then go with Rice. So if you want upside, go with Rice. I know this doesn't give you an exact thing, but you really got to think of the context of your situation, your matchup, what's on your team, and everything else, and how your lineup is set. So if I want to be real with you, I have to talk this way. Godwin, play it safe because that's fundamentals. Rice, because of the upside due to the matchup. All right, let's go Goff or Watson. Did I answer? I think I'd go Goff. I feel safer with that. And it's the quarterback onesie position, which you're starting one of those. I would go Goff. Do not start Freeman. He sucks so bad. I mean, there's context to that. Really because of where you're at in your lineups. We got people on here with 16-team leagues. We got people here in dynasty leagues. We got people here in Devy leagues. We got people here in extreme large Devy leagues, and people here in 10-team leagues, 8-team leagues. Really depends on context. I would not be starting him over usual producers. I definitely would not be doing that. Basic leagues, I would not be starting him. If I'm in a deeper league and things are bad at the waiver wire and I'm hurting, it's bye weeks. We got 6 teams on bye this week. We have some running backs injured. If I'm hurting, you know what? At some point, you got to throw a guy in your lineup and hope for a touchdown. And it's just, you're just hoping. It's the gamble. You got to look at the other guys that have that and play the matchups. They are in a matchup where they can throw the ball, and that could happen. So really, to think about that from my end, where I have to give an answer to and broadcast it out to a wide net, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not starting him in basic leagues. If you're hurting in a weird circumstance, deep league, think about it. Now we're looking here. Warren and Jordan Mason. That's a good one. This is actually fun. This is the first time I ever did a live stream on here. I've done them on TikTok before. TikTok's not as fun because you're getting random people. Warren, the backfield. And then who's it? Jordan Mason. Jalen Warren's the safer play for sure, especially if it's PPR because he's getting work in the passing game. And he's also in a matchup where they're going to be playing behind to the Rams because the Rams are going to be throwing the ball. I know they're going to be throwing the ball. They're down on running backs, and they're in a matchup where they can throw the ball, and they got 2 Hosses at wide receiver and Tutu Atwell. They're going to be throwing the ball in this matchup, which means the Steelers are going to have to play keep up, which means Jalen Warren's going to be on the field. I feel like he's going to be a safer play. Najee might be more of the goal line guy in that situation since Warren's going to be running a lot of routes out there. That being said, I feel safer with Jalen Warren. Jordan Mason's a sneaky guy here due to the matchup, due to getting goal line looks. You might be able to shoot from the moon with Jordan Mason if the Niners are moving the ball with Ayuk, because you can throw on the Vikings pretty good and move the ball downfield pretty easily on them. I feel safer with Jalen Warren. If it was me in my lineup, I would put him in just because I'm feeling safer. And honestly, when it comes to upside, they're pretty similar. Pretty similar. Jordan Mason, I feel like, has a little bit more upside. But thinking through the game scripts here, I see Jalen Warren getting a little bit more workload than usual. Pick 2, Rashad White, Jaleel McLaughlin, Darrell Henderson, Chuba Hubbard, or Devin Singletary going forward. Thank you. Well, thank you for watching. I feel like Chuba. Let's look at Chuba here. Even up here. It's not even coming up. Sometimes they don't have him ranked. What? Even playing? I don't think playing. Thinking about that one, and my gut is already saying the first two. Honestly, Rashad White against the Falcons, using the passing game a little bit, and that one could be an ugly one. Also got Jaleel McLaughlin against a juicy matchup against the Broncos. A good little dice roll there. So I'd go White and McLaughlin and roll with that if I had to pick 2. And I think I'm getting down here. Goff or Watson. I answered that one. I went Goff if you didn't see it. I need... Yeah, I would go Godwin over Jacoby Myers. I would definitely do that. I would definitely go Godwin over Jacoby Myers. I love Javon. I would definitely do Win. Jalen Warren over Williams. Moss Easy. Craig Reynolds or Hendo Jr. I hate bye weeks. I hate bye weeks too. I am putting those guys in a bag and shaking them out because Reynolds isn't in a great matchup. You also got Gibbs coming back. You got Hendo there. You're sharing the workload and a lot of unknown there. We know Detroit can move the ball. We know Reynolds can get you touchdowns because I imagine they're going to use him on the goal line. I imagine they're going to use Freeman on the goal line for the Rams. And I imagine the Rams are going to be throwing the ball. I'm rolling dice on that one. You can either go YOLO Hendo and shoot for the upside and see if he just comes out and gets all the touches, because that might be happening. That might be in the fold. Or you play it safe with Craig Reynolds and hope for the goal line look and play that gamble. I think we go YOLO, Hendo, and just pray. Let's see. I missed some because this chat's gone pretty good. Let's see. Ingram for Arizona or Murray for Buffalo or Hunt if he plays. So I would go. For me, it's split between Ingram and Murray. Murray's touchdown situational. Ingram's at least going to get you touches between the 20s. Ingram, if you want to play it safe. But I feel like Murray's going to have more opportunities to score points in this one because of the Bills' offense. He's going to get more goal line work. He's going to get that opportunity more. I think Murray's got more upside between the two. I just don't feel like Ingram's got it in him to just put up 150 yards or anything like that. And I feel like Murray's in a situation where he's more likely to score touchdowns. Even though the situation's not that great, it's the Bills. It's the Bills. Zach Moss or Jeff Wilson Jr. this week. It's hard to trust either of them because of the situation. Jeff Wilson, I want to read some news on him. I need to read some news on him. Jeff Wilson. We got Philly, which it's the Did the news come out saying that he's up? I've not checked Shefty in a few minutes. I've been on here. because that's another thing here. My latest blurb just says he could be making his debut. I imagine he said something about that. I imagine if Wilson's good, he's going to be getting some opportunities. I'm looking through here. I'm not seeing no. Shefty didn't say anything. Last thing I got here, could be making his debut. And we're looking at, I'd gamble on Jeff Wilson if he's making his debut if I feel certain about that. I'm not 100% certain on that. And I'm not certain on either one of these running backs. So I would flip a coin on that. I'm gambling big. I'm a big gambler. That being said, if you're not a gambler, go the other way. Let's see. I'm getting lost here in the chat. Getting lost here on this chat here. What else? Moss Easy. Kenneth Walker all day. Let's see here. Najee Harris or Royce Freeman. Same matchup here. Freeman's more of an unknown. Najee Harris is a lot safer. He's a lot safer. Safer guy to roll with. I'm saying that much. I feel better with Najee Harris in my lineup. I can definitely see how Freeman can outscore him by touchdowns. And I know the Rams can move it a lot better. And I know they will move it a lot better in this game. And Freeman should be getting some goal line work, but that's not always the case. That's not always the case. Fundamental says Najee because you know where the touches are going to be at for him. Freeman could roll up in this game, and Hendo gets a large touch share. We don't know this backfield too much. But if you're willing to gamble and put your nuts on the table, go Freeman. If you're playing it safe, go Harris. I feel safer with Harris, though, but I can definitely see where Freeman just surprises us. But I can also see this backfield surprising us not doing anything because all this team has to do is just throw the ball a lot in this matchup and move it. Let's see here. Half-point PPR, Darrell Henderson or Jeff Wilson. I think they showed last week that if Jeff Wilson's in there, he's getting looks. He's going to give you some upside. I'm rolling Dolphins. If he's getting touches, then you're going to get more upside compared to Darrell Henderson. Henderson feels like a shade safer, but Wilson's good to go. Wilson's good to go, and you really want to go YOLO. If you really want to go YOLO, sometimes you just got to do that, right? You can't just play it safe and go on fundamentals. Fundamentals kind of says Hendo. He's not coming back from an injury. He's coming back from the straight, where a place he's been at, knowledgeable. But, yeah, that's what I would roll with. Mason or Warren, I think we did that. I think I'd go Warren because he's safer. Mason's got more touchdown upside, so I feel safer with Warren, especially in this matchup. I'm going all over the place now. Najee Harris, Freeman, YOLO, Hendo, it is. Jamison, Crowder, or Tyreek Hill. You know what? Sometimes you got to go YOLO, go Jamison Crowder. You know that, right? Pickens or Zay Flowers. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Let's go get some help here. Let's go get some help on this one. Pickens or Zay Flowers. My gut automatically went Pickens, if that means anything for you. I like this matchup. They got Pickens at 27. I like this matchup due to pace being pushed, not due to the defense. Flowers. They didn't rank Flowers this week? Okay. They got Flowers over. I think Flowers is going to be safer due to him getting a higher target share. He's pushing around 30%, but he's getting shorter targets. I think Pickens is more of a YOLO play in this matchup due to the volumes. So that being said, how I play is I'd go Pickens. Fundamentals say go Zay Flowers. And I'm a gambler on this, so that's why I go both ways there. Pickens if you want to gamble because I like this matchup. I like the Rams being able to push the pace in this one. And Steelers trying to have to play catch up. Zay Flowers, guaranteed target share, but we've seen that in a lot of these matchups where that does not equate to more than like 9 or 10 fantasy points. That being said, he's safe, though. I feel like he's safe for 9 or 10 fantasy points. If you feel good getting 10 as a guaranteed thing, then Flowers. But if you want to shoot for 24, 25, then Pickens. Let's see, Warren over Williams, Javonte or DJ Moore standard. Javonte, goal line looks. I trust Tyson Badgett's dad more than Tyson Badgett to move this offense. I'm not 100% trusting that. Javonte, just getting workload on the running backs to protect Badgett. He might pepper more. He should. That's what I would do. Pepper my stud. But starting Shepard or Puka. Gotta go YOLO sometimes. So you may want to go Shepard. Fred Durst. I get it. The hat. Well, I got the pink one. I got the pink one right here. The Pink Cups hat. I like to roll with this one sometimes. And then this is my everyday driver. Columbus Clippers hat. You can see I got the dog hair on it. Everyday driver. This is the one I wear everywhere. This is the one that I use on all the videos. It just sits right here. When I go on camera, that's what I roll with. Or I use this as a switch up. This pops a lot on camera, but I don't wear it much in videos because I think people click off due to seeing a guy in a pink hat. But I like wearing it if I do like a TikTok, a short, because then it hooks you for a second or two. Elijah Moore to targets. I feel like Deshaun Watson's going to be good enough. And if his shoulder's bugging him and Elijah Moore's running that shorter A-dot, and he's already seen a 20+% target share, I'd roll Elijah Moore. And I think Elijah Moore's due some production, and he's getting opportunity. And both of them are sus. Both of them are on the real. So I'll roll with target share. I feel good with that. Hollywood Brown upside, and you got Seattle defense there. You can throw on them, and that's what I would do. If I was hitting buttons there, it'd probably be instant smash Hollywood Brown. Warren's in a good matchup for him due to what he's doing in the passing game. But, yeah, Hollywood Brown upside. Jeff Wilson, Craig Reynolds. Craig Reynolds, if you want to play it super safe and hope for touchdowns, I think I would go Jeff Wilson and go YOLO, especially if I got that one spot in my lineup where I'm gambling and take that L just in case they have the kids' gloves on there. They give them just a couple touches, a couple snaps. But I'm going YOLO. Zach Moss, Darrell Henderson. I think they're still going to split up that workload a little bit. In Indy, I'll probably go Zach Moss to play it safe right now and see what's up with Henderson. I wouldn't be surprised if Henderson surprises us. I wouldn't be surprised if this backfield surprises us one way or another. I'd go Pickens over Osborne. I definitely would do that. That's a good question on Julio. I imagine he's going to be getting some opportunities. Let me look him up. Not even ranked. They didn't even rank Julio. They didn't even rank him. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's go. Fuck, I think he probably. I mean, there's playing and then there's playing. I think he'll probably like be around. Well, elevated to active roster. He's at least elevated to the active roster for week 7. I think that's going to be very limited. You're going to have to look into that. I don't think he's going to be running too many routes unless this game gets really gnarly because it is the Dolphins. They start looking like they're going to be hanging 70, which I don't think they will. Then you might get a Julio game. But honestly, I'm not trusting Julio, but looks like he's activated. 14-team PBR, Elijah Mitchell or DJ Dallas. I'm going Elijah Mitchell and hoping that they allow him to get some touches this week due to come back from that knee injury, shooting for that upside. Hollywood Brown or Joshua Palmer. Hollywood Brown, deep targets, good matchup. Bro, Freeman Hunt or Elijah Mitchell. Freeman Hunt. Elijah Mitchell due to upside. Freeman if I want to chase that touchdown and put him in and close my eyes and see what happens. That being said, Freeman might be a little bit safer because I don't not know what the touch share is going to be looking like there in San Francisco. And there's talk about Christian McCaffrey. I don't really believe it or trust it. Elijah Moore for more upside if you want to go for gusto. Freeman if you're hoping for a touchdown. Deontay Johnson. Trusting Deontay Johnson a little bit more. I'm not trusting any of them, but if I had to trust one, it'd be Deontay. Quentin Johnston or Calvin Austin. The thing about Calvin Austin is he's in a matchup where the Steelers might be throwing it to playing behind on the Rams, because the Rams are going to be throwing it today. They're down running backs. They're in a matchup where the Steelers allow, like, what was it, 5th most to wide receivers in fantasy production. And you're taking a stab and a gamble on either one of them. Quentin Johnston isn't getting targets, but he's also running a fair amount of routes. So that opportunity is going to happen eventually, and it's against the Chiefs. So you need to think of it this way. How am I going to make my gamble? Am I going to make my gamble on the Steelers playing catch-up, or am I going to make my gamble on the Chargers-Chiefs game on one of these ancillary wide receivers? Because there's a lot of unknown here. We don't know where the target's going to go. Calvin Austin has shown more. Quentin Johnston is on the field in a prime matchup. I feel safer with Calvin Austin. I feel like there's more upside with Quentin Johnston. They may have to progress to him a little bit in some of these series. Zach Moss, Hendy, Wilson, Latavius. If I'm picking one, Zach Moss. Rank maybe Zach Moss. Then a push between Murray and Hendy. And then Jeff Wilson, if I'm shooting for upside. And if I want to shoot for pure upside, then I have him one. Because Jeff Wilson, super upside. Raheem Mostert or Wilson. Mostert for now, I feel safer. Wilson for upside, but I feel a lot safer with Mostert in this one. I went 0RB. There you go. 0RB, I like going 0RB in a lot of leagues. That's what I do a lot, but I also mix it up a lot that way. I have everything ready for content. Jeff Wilson or Zach Moss. Zach Moss safe. Jeff Wilson is a home run hitter. Elijah Moore or Deontay Foreman. Elijah Mitchell or Deontay Foreman. Deontay Foreman, because we know where the touch is going to be at for him if you want to play safe. Elijah Mitchell, again, upside play. If I want to play upside, I'm going Elijah Mitchell, knowing that it could go to 0 on me. Deontay Foreman doesn't have upside, and it could go to 0. Elijah Mitchell. Let's just do that. Let's go YOLO. Deontay Foreman, Jeff Wilson Jr., or Henderson. If I'm feeling good about Jeff Wilson as things are progressing here, it's probably Jeff Wilson just for upside. If I want to play it safe, Foreman. Like, if I'm scared about my lineup already, not the rest of my lineup, I'd go Foreman. If I got a spot to gamble with, I'm gambling with Wilson if I'm feeling good about him. Henderson or Rice. Rice. Thank you, Savage. Flex. Yeah, Rice. Just that matchup in the volume, and I feel safer. Stevenson or Brian Robinson. RB2. I'm going with Brian Robinson here. Play Cortland Sutton or check waivers for better wide receiver. Let's look at Cortland Sutton real quick. First person asked about him. Against Denver, Green Bay. He's getting air yards. He's getting opportunity. He's ranked 37 among wide receivers on 4 for 4. Ahead of Josh Palmer, ahead of Rashid Shaheed, ahead of Kendrick Bourne, ahead of Jerry Jeudy, ahead of Michael Wilson. So I think Cortland Sutton's all right. You're gambling on air yards. You're gambling on him bringing in a deep target. And if it happens, you got a big week. If it doesn't, you're going to have a bust week. He's boom bust this week. That's what we're looking at. That's a take. He's boom bust. If you got something there safer on waiver wire, yes. If you got something there safer that you like better, than yes. But he's boom bust. He's very boom bust. I'm trading Goff, Joshua, Javonte for Stafford, Pickens, and Chuba. Should I do this trade? I don't know who Joshua is. I don't know who Joshua is. I don't have enough information here. It's lean because I'm hoping that's not Joshua Jacobs. That's why I'm not leaning into this one. Should I drop Mitchell for Curtis Samuel? Elijah Mitchell for Curtis Samuel. Elijah Mitchell's more of a 1 week play. If you're hurting a wide receiver, sure. And if you're good at running back to where you don't need Elijah Mitchell, then it's okay, because if you need the patch up wide receiver, that's good. If that's Joshua Jacobs there, then no, you don't do that trade. Joshua Palmer. Okay. Goff, Joshua Palmer, Javonte Williams, Elijah Mitchell, Stafford Pickens, Chuba. Stafford Pickens. I look at the quarterbacks as a push. I look at the Chuba and the running backs. It gives you opportunity to play waivers a little bit more because you're dumping somebody, and you get Pickens. Pickens might be the best player in the deal. Yeah, I do it. Jameson Williams. Okay, here we go. Super chat comes up. I've never had one before, so thank you, Brandon Taylor. I got Jared Goff as my QP and PPR. Should I start Stevenson or Jameson Williams? I feel super safe with Stevenson. My gut rolled with that right when I read it. That's where I feel super safe. Jameson Williams, if I'm looking at my lineup and I need to shoot for upside somewhere, and he's got that Will Fuller effect where you do not know what's going to happen, and I don't think the matchups ever matter with him or any player like that, and we get a few of them every so often. If I need to shoot for upside, and I'm looking at the other team, and that's one of the top teams in the league, and my team, I need to shoot for upside somewhere. I feel like I need to. I think Stevenson will give you ho-hum results, and I think you're safe to get ho-hum results. I think there's big risks. Jameson Williams gives you nothing, but I think Williams can get you some upside. I think we saw that splash last week. I don't see this going multiple weeks. I would go Stevenson. I feel like he's a lot safer. I feel safer with him, unless I really need to gamble. But I feel safer with Stevenson. Sorry, I dragged these out a little bit, but I honestly want to be real with you guys too, because the things aren't always like one or the other. You know what I'm saying? One or more Wilson, or for Jeff Wilson or Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford's a lot safer. Watson's back. I feel good with that. I know we're fun going with Wilson and the YOLO, but if I got a jabroni running back, one of those guys ranked in the 30s, definitely Wilson. Ford's a lot safer. If you need upside, sure, but Ford. Jonnu Smith or Njoku at TV, tight end. Let me double check the rankings here, because I'm biased at tight end. And you gotta know, the thing about life is you gotta know where you're biased at, and then realize, hey, I'm biased here. Let's just Jonnu Smith 12. The matchup, I see that they're right next to each other. Coin flip between the two. Roll with your gut. My gut's saying Njoku, and really we're hoping to see who scores the touchdown between them, and I can see Njoku getting the opportunities there. Let's see. I only got a little bit more time to answer a few more. So, Hendo or Deontay Johnson? I'm rolling with Deontay Johnson. Henderson or Jeff Wilson? I feel like we're in the same bag with both of them. Give me the Dolphins. Yeah, they haven't gave up. The thing is, you're just gambling here. And he's also sharing with Pitts. Watson's back. We don't know much about the Watson shoulder. And honestly, when it comes to tight ends, you can be the tight end 8, score 10 or 11 fantasy points, but that's only like a few more points than tight end 25 for the week. And I'm really hoping for the touchdown here. I'm feeling Njoku. That's just, I don't know why. I think it's because of Watson. I think the shorter targets maybe more lean to a little bit. Madison or Pittman, full flex. That's a good question. And they're both not in great matchups. I look for this to be an ugly game. I think of the game script too, not just defense. I look for the Vikings to move the ball more than the Colts. but more through the air. I look for Madison to be guaranteed to get in touches here. I feel safer with Pittman. I can see it rolling with Madison. If you can get in the end zone a bit, I feel safer with Pittman. Madison has a tough matchup. Foreman's got the quarterback situation. I'm going with Madison. Najee or Hunt? Najee. Thank you for the super chat, Dodge Shape. Thank you so much, and thank all you guys for watching. Pittman or Godwin? Good one. Let's check those ranks. They got Pittman at 26. They're down on Pittman. My gut was leaning on Godwin. They're a little bit higher on Godwin. Pittman's getting a little bit better target share. Which game script's more likely to break, though, between the Browns and the Falcons? Tampa Bay threw it 27 times last week. I'm going with Godwin. Godwin because of the matchup. Tampa Bay will throw it. Tampa Bay will just sling it. And that's where I'm rolling with. Best RB2, Stevenson or Brian Robinson? Let me check this one. I want to say I said Robinson earlier on this one, and now that's Bijan. Got to be careful on that one. 14. 19. I think I'm going to roll Brian Robinson on that one. I think it's tight. I think it's a coin flip on it. But I feel like if I had to, I would roll with Brian Robinson. You said name right. Laugh out loud. Thank you for watching, sir. You missed my super chat. Brandon Taylor, where's your super chat? I missed it. Wasn't yours the one with the question? Let me roll up for it. I swear, maybe. Oh, I lost my chats. Where are we at here? Where'd my chats go? Let me see here. No, I don't want to edit. How do I lose my chats here? Nope. Pop-up dashboard. How do I do this? All right. How do I get my chats back? Share and stream. There we go. Where did y'all go? Where's your chat go? Chat's gone now. There we go. Let me roll up to the super chat. I got Jared Goff. Okay. Yeah, so I covered this one. Stevenson, because I feel a lot safer with Stevenson over Jameson Williams, unless you're in a spot where Jameson Williams, where you need a lottery ticket in your lineup, where you feel very good about every other piece. You're against one of the top teams in your league, and you want to gamble and shoot for the home run. I feel like we got that splash play out on Williams last week. He's very up and down. You're either getting a gusto game or nothing. Stevenson, you know what you're going to get. You know you're going to get touches. You know you're going to get a baseline production. Guts saying safer with Stevenson. Also, on the chat underneath it, a few other people went with Stevenson. Feel safer with him. Jameson Williams, however, if I'm in a spot where I feel like I need to take a gamble, and maybe I'm already down from the Thursday night game, maybe I'm playing one of the better teams in the league, maybe I feel good about the rest of my lineup, I'm feeling good about Williams, and I got that one spot to gamble with, then Williams, because I don't think Stevenson's really has that much gusto to give you a splash game. And that's the thing about it. If you need a splash game, Williams. But I feel way safer with Stevenson. Thank you so much, though. Love or Purdy? That's a good question. I went to the bottom real quick because I was scrolling back because I had to scroll up. So I'll move back up on the other ones. In a couple minutes, I'll have to jump off. So sorry if I miss any other questions, but this has been very successful. So I imagine I'll do more of these, maybe throughout the week too. Purdy 8. And then the other one is Love. I like the matchup for Brock Purdy. You can throw on the Vikings. You're down a running back. And Washington defense. Let's see here. Yeah, definitely like Purdy. Let's look at defense here. I'm not many leagues that have running back, that have defenses. Oh, you got the Bears. You got that Bears quarterback. Why are they so low on the rate? Where's the rate? Okay, Raiders. So you got 2 of the top 5 defenses projected this week. That's a good thing. You got a good coin flip here. You got Badgets. You got Commanders against the Giants. Everyone's killing the Giants. You got a coin flip there. The Bears have not looked good even with Justin Fields. Everyone's got Commanders at number 1. The Raiders, if the Raiders are in your gut feeling good, go with the Raiders. You're good with either one, and it's one of those where there's chance. Badgett, I mean, you're not really going to be trusting him, are you? And you don't trust the Giants either. Go with your gut on that one. My gut is honestly looking at the Raiders. I want to test that out. I want to test that out a lot. You're welcome, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Couple more. Adams, Puka, Lockett. I have them ranked like that. You're talking about Devontae Adams. I have them ranked like that. Najee, Hendo, Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson, if I need pure upside. If I need pure upside, I'm reading more reports. I feel good. Jeff Wilson. Najee's a little safer, but not much. Madison or Godwin. I feel a little bit safer with Godwin. Even with half PPR, I feel a little safer. I think it's up in the air. If your gut feels one way, go with it. But, yeah, it's a little bit safer. And a couple more questions. I can scroll up and get more, I think. There's the Luke Musgrave. Let me look at the rankings here. I don't know the question for sure. I liked him as a prospect coming out. I got him in a lot of dynasty leagues because he was a cheaper tight end, and I like the value there. Allowed me to hammer wide receivers and rookie drafts a little bit more. And that second round, I took some swings and misses on some other players. Luke Musgrave, tight end 10 for the week. We got Denver Broncos. So, very startable option. So, we're going to go one more, and then we're going to wrap up. Don't forget to hit that like button on the way out. One more. We got Ford or Wilson, Drum Ford. I think I got everybody. I think that's going to wrap me up for today. We got one last one. Trey Palmer or Henderson. And I love me some Trey Palmer. Little safer with Henderson, I think, because I feel like he is getting some touches. Trey Palmer, he's got some upside due to the deep balls. I don't trust it at all. So I would go Hendo to be safe. Trey Palmer if I want to really gamble. If you're like in a 16-teamer or something like that. Henderson to be safe. See what happens. Palmer, though, keep stashing. Keep holding strong. Hendo and Freeman, a big question on that. Freeman, you're hoping for touchdowns. You're hoping he gets that goal line look. We do not know much about this Rams backfield. No one knows. And my guess for this week's game is they're going to be throwing the ball a lot because you can throw on the Steelers. It's going to do that. And so what I would do, pick one. I Hendo over Freeman's probably fine. I would not be surprised if he surprises us with all the touches. He got moved up quick off the practice squad this week. He got picked up off the street. They did that with C.J. Anderson back in the day once Todd Gurley got hurt. So I would feel good with Hendo and Freeman. You're hoping that they give him a rushing touchdown, honestly. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button on the way out. Really helps the video and the channel on the algorithm. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Just smash that. I'll do more live streams. Things are looking good here because I got new internet. I got that Elon Musk internet. I live out in the middle of nowhere. No, there's nothing around me. I've had slow internet all this time doing all this content. I want to thank you guys, though. I appreciate it. I'll catch you guys on the next one. You guys have good luck this week.